Hey, Mike, I don't want to go on any more of your crazy Goonie adventures. um, so, I know this is, it hasn't been a week. Wow. I am here to talk about Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. Let's not be lazy. Indiana Jones. I am not going to review every specific movie in this series. What I'm going to do is talk about all of them. Before we get too deep in this, I want a couple of disclaimers. These videos are completely unedited. Hopefully I don't have faux pas where things are being turned off and I have to put videos together like I've been having. These are unfiltered, so no matter what I say or what goes on, if my dog comes over or anything like that, you're going to get it all. And I am going to talk about spoilers. I will put a list of movies at the bottom here that show what I actually give spoilers for, what I quote, and what I simply just quote, and what I just mention. So if you want to avoid spoilers, look at the list below and make sure you avoid spoilers. I am here today to talk about Indiana Jones as a whole, all the movies, not one individually, although I am going to talk about them individually to a degree. I will give spoilers away for the new one because I literally just got home a couple hours ago from seeing the new one, The Dial of Destiny. Is that what it's called? I want to make sure. And The Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny. I just finished watching it, so I'm here to talk about Indiana Jones. As you can see, another one has been scratched off the list. I'm not very good at this. It's right there. Another one's been scratched off the poster. Raiders of the Lost Ark is the only Indiana Jones film that is on the poster, and you may or may not know this or remember this, but when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, it was the first Indiana Jones movie that came out, and when it came out, it was not called Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was called The Raiders of the Lost Ark. So anyway, it is also part of the book challenge. The last one in the book, number 52, a movie released the decade you were born. And I decided, since I had so many movies on the poster, I found a movie that was actually released the year I was born. Indiana Jones was released in 1981. Or excuse me, Raiders of the Lost Ark was released in 1981, which is the year that I was born. Okay, so let's get into it. First, I want to say, I used to love these movies and I used to watch them all the time. I've seen the first three, The Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. I've seen those three so many times. I can quote them, verbatim, probably. I have not seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as much. And I just saw Dial of Destiny. So it's kind of hard to... I hate talking bad about film like I've said before, and it's hard to say, you know what, Harrison Ford, we should just stop having these movies. Either that or pass it on. And I kind of thought that's what Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was going to do, like pass it on. But here he is making another one, and I hope that this is the last one. You're 60 years old. It's less believable that you're doing these things. As much as I love Clint Eastwood, I saw the preview for that Cry Macho, and he punches somebody, and I couldn't stop laughing. You just broke your hand, didn't you? You're 90-something years old, and you're punching somebody? I hope that in the movie that he doesn't really take much effect. A 90-year-old man punching you is going to hurt himself. He's not going to hurt you. I just think it's not believable anymore, guy. Do something else. I loved The Mule, and that was made a few years before this Cry Macho, and I thought it was great. He was fantastic in it. I liked his character. He was fun. He didn't hit anybody. And I was like, that's the kind of role you should be doing. It's fine. Your 90s. I would love to be making film in my 90s, but punching people is like I don't find that believable, and I don't quite find it believable that 61-year-old Indiana Jones is running around with his whip and climbing rocks and anyway, let's get into the films. Everybody has their own, like, what way do you watch the Avenger films? Do you watch them chronologically as they were released? Do you watch them chronologically during the storyline? And the same thing with Star Wars. Everybody has their idea of, like, how do you watch them? What's the best way to watch them? If you've never watched them, is there a different way you should watch them than if you've seen them over and over and over? So I have my own, and the same goes with Indiana Jones, although most people don't have a problem with Indiana Jones just going the way that they were released, Raiders of the Lost Ark first. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Any way you choose to watch them, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. It's up to you. When I watch the Star Wars movies, if I'm going to do a marathon, I enjoy going in order of the story, not in order of release. When it comes to the Marvel movies, I enjoy watching them in order of release, not in order of story. So if we watched them in order of story, we'd be watching, Captain America first, I think, and then Captain Marvel, and then Iron Man, and then blah 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 blah. I have it all written out, like how it is chronologically, and I'm talking about the films, not the TV. So Raiders of the Lost Ark was the first one released, but Temple of Doom is the story before Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I enjoy watching these that way, starting with Temple of Doom, then going Raiders of the Lost Ark, Last Crusade, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and now Dial of Destiny. And that's how I just did my marathon. I just did the marathon and then watched the new one tonight. And the only one that's on the poster and the only one that's on the book is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, why do I enjoy watching it that way? Does it make a difference? It absolutely doesn't make a difference in the storyline whatsoever. You can watch them in any order you want. You can watch them out of order. It really doesn't matter, honestly, how you want to watch these. The reason I do that, and like I said, I hate talking bad about movies, but the reason why I do that is I really don't like Temple of Doom. And I realized I really don't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull equally as much, but for completely different reasons. So here are four Raiders, Last Crusade, Temple, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Dial of Destiny. So here are 5 movies, Indiana Jones movies, iconic films. I love Harrison Ford in a lot of stuff that he's done. I haven't seen everything he's done, but he's my favorite Jack Ryan. He's fantastic as Jack Ryan. I think that they should have just stuck with him. I wish they did. Everybody else pales in comparison, in my opinion. I love, Harrison Ford. Nothing bad to say about Harrison Ford. These Indiana Jones films, I used to love them, and then the more I grow up and appreciate film, the more I watch them, I'm just like, if I'm really being honest with myself, I don't like Temple of Doom, and I don't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. They're equally like the worst of the 5, and for completely different reasons. So, we're going to get into that. So, I'm going to start with how I watch them. So let's talk about the Temple of Doom first. I either read or I heard somewhere that when they were making it, okay, hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up on IMDb. When they were making it, Steven Spielberg, I think I read or heard, Steven Spielberg started realizing it was really dark. He was like, we've got to lighten this up. It's getting really dark. And I can't imagine Steven Spielberg making a dark film, okay? I've seen a lot of horror films. I've seen a lot of great film. And I'm just like, I can't imagine Steven Spielberg making a dark film, but when you watch it, I can see hints of, I get, if you leave a lot of this stuff out, it is kind of dark. And I would love to have seen his dark version, because my number one irritation with this film is Willie Scott. Oh my God, she's fucking annoying. She is so fucking annoying. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I'm just like, can we please get rid of her? Kate, nothing against Kate Capshaw. She's a great actress. I've seen other things she does. Absolutely nothing against Kate Capshaw. It's the character and how she does the character, and it's annoying as fuck. I hate it. I hate her. And I wish they would just take her out of the movie. No, I don't wish they would take her out of the movie. There are parts where I kind of like her, where she's like chill, but every time she freaks out, every time she's scared, I'm just like, like my ears bleed. I hate it. A lot of people don't like Jar Jar Binks in the first in Phantom Menace. I am one of those people. I will go on record right now. I am one of those people that felt like he had his place, and I didn't think he was annoying. Did I like him? He was definitely not my favorite character in the world, but he had a place, he had a character, and I enjoyed it because it was a small part. In all of them, in all the ones that he appears in, he has a small part. He obviously has a bigger part in Phantom Menace, but it made sense, and I could get it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I didn't not like him. I wasn't one of those people that are on the bandwagon that hated him and wanted him out of the film. Okay, I also thought the pod race was. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy Phantom Menace. Is it my favorite one? Absolutely not. But I am not on board with the people who don't like Jar Jar Binks. But this is the most irritating character in Temple of Doom. Willie Scott is the most irritating character I ever found in any film that I enjoy. Because I enjoy this film if it weren't for her. I think Ke Huy Quan is amazing in this film. He provides the levity. He provides the comedy that we need to lighten up the dark mood. She's just annoying. Horribly annoying. So, let's talk about somebody other than that character, because that character is. I've already voiced the opinion that I really don't like that character and wish that half of her role was just taken out. Let's talk about the film. I wrote no notes. I just watched all these, so I wrote no notes. So we'll see how long this video goes if I don't have any notes. I enjoy watching this first, one, because it's not Christian. Okay, a lot of people had a problem with Crystal Skull because they're like, oh, it's aliens. And I'm like, wait a second. And why does he believe in aliens when he's a Christian? Whoa. Wait a second. If you watch the first film, The Raiders of the Lost Ark, he even says in the very beginning, when he's talking about the Lost Ark, and he says, it holds the Ten Commandments. Yes, the actual Ten Commandments that Moses brought down out of Mount Horeb and smashed, if you believe that sort of thing. He is an archaeologist, he's a scientist, he's a historian, he is not a Christian. He may be a Christian, yes, but he is not a religious person. His dad is. His dad is very religious. You find that out in Crusade. And I think because his dad is so religious and so structured, he kind of goes the opposite way. Does he believe? Is he a Christian? I'm thinking he's probably Catholic or Christian, probably at heart. But that doesn't show up anywhere in Indiana Jones. He is an archaeologist, he is a scientist, and he is about fact, not myth, not faith. Fact. Okay? So I enjoy watching Temple of Doom first because it's not Christian based, but it is religious based. And he knows the knowledge. He has just as much knowledge about the Thuggee. He has just as much knowledge about the history there in India as he does, Christianity, the Ark, or the Grail, or anything it might be. The same thing with the Crystal Skull. He knows the myth and the story behind Oriana, is that who it was? And the South American lore and myth about the information that they get. I have zero problem with the storyline in Crystal Skull that a lot of people had, because I know that Indiana Jones is not about religion. He is about fact. He is about, he also is about mythology. He is. He gets the mythology, but he doesn't believe the mythology. And over and over and over, even in the new one, he's not there for the mythology, although he knows the mythology. He will only accept the mythology if he proves it by sight and by fact. Then he'll believe the mythology. Okay, and it's the same thing, like I said, with the new one, the Dial of Destiny. He is not about to believe that this device allows you to go back in time. He's not about to believe that unless he experiences it, or until he experiences it. Until it becomes fact, it's just myth, and he knows the myth. He knows it very well. So, back to Temple of Doom. So what I like about Temple of Doom is, and why I like watching it first, is because you understand that Indiana Jones is about the fact and about what's going on and what's happening, and the stones are just. He even tells his buddy. Oh my God, why can't I remember? Short Round. He tells Short Round, it's just a myth. It's just a legend. And he's searching for fortune and glory. He's searching for, not really. Yes, fortune and glory, yes. I like it because you get a little bit of a history of Indiana Jones when he goes to India, and they're talking about his past and things that he's done. So you know that his reputation precedes him. People know who he is, and he's there for the people ask him to find the stone, and he understands that they believe in the stone. Whether he believes it or not, it doesn't matter. The fact that it's history and it's archaeology, the fact that it's a relic that he could possibly put in a museum that belongs in a museum, and it's part of mythology, and it's part of their history and their culture. That's what he cares about. He's an archaeologist. That's what he cares about. And until he experiences or sees the Thuggee actually having a ceremony, it's all theory. It's all what he reads and what he knows and what he's studied. So I really like I love the parts, the dark parts. I guess what Spielberg was talking about. All the Thuggee, the cult, the ceremony that they have. I like that a lot. I like that we see something right away, especially in the first film, like if you're watching it in this order. What I really like to see is him reach in and take his heart out, and the guy's still alive. So we get a little bit of that, like, this is not 100%, like, have we ever seen this? I've never seen that before. No doctor would ever agree with that. Like, it's outside the realm of possibility, and he sees it happen. And so I like that right away we get that. We get that other people's faith, other people's rituals, other people's beliefs allow things to happen that we wouldn't necessarily believe. If I were to tell you, I could take somebody's heart out and have it beating in my hand and him still alive, and the cave that I created closes up and he's still alive, you'd be like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And just as stupid as aliens in a spaceship or whatever, you'd be like, this is stupid. So I like the fact that it establishes that in this film, in the first film, that we get that glimpse of this is make-believe, although Steven Spielberg is trying to keep this film as realistic as possible. When he falls out of the airplane and he lands with the floaty boat, okay, it's a little outside the realm of like reality, a little bit outside the okay, but it's not a whole lot of that. A lot of what happens in this is like, okay, this could happen. This could physically happen. The fights, the kids being captured, the water, all the water that gets released. All these things seem like, okay, it's not outside the realm of possibility like, Crystal Skull, which we'll talk about. Oh my god. So I like Temple of Doom to a degree. But the more I watch it, the more I'm irritated by Willie and the less I want to watch it. But Indiana Jones and Short Round make me want to watch it more because they are fantastic in that movie. I love them. And you may not know this or not, but Dan Aykroyd plays a quick like cameo in that. I mean, I don't know how many people realize that that's Dan Aykroyd that gets them on the plane. I just thought that was funny, and maybe a lot of people do know that. I don't know. So anyway, so then I watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. So in chronological order, that's how it goes. So Raiders. Let's go to Raiders page. So Raiders is the one that's in the book. So I'll talk more about that because it's in the book and I have something to say. So, movie title, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Year released, 1981. Aspect ratio, 2.20:1. Running time, an hour and 55 minutes. Genre, action-adventure, which I'm assuming all of these are action-adventure. Rated PG. Starring Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, John Rhys-Davies, Denholm Elliott, and a bunch of other people. I can't put everybody on this list. Directed by Steven Spielberg. Directed by Steven Spielberg. Produced by Frank Marshall. Written by Lawrence Kasdan, George Lucas, and Philip Kaufman. Music by John Williams. Let's take a second. I love John Williams. I think he will absolutely go down in history as one of the greatest film composers of all time. Of course, I do, like with some other composers, film composers, I do hear a lot of things similar and repeated sounds. There are times when I'm watching one of the Indiana Jones films and I hear a little bit, I'm like, that sounds like Star Wars. Yeah, that sounds like Star Wars. That sounds a little like something else. Or I'll be watching Star Wars and goes, that sounds like Hook. That little piece, that little right there, the love theme in 2 sounds like Hook. 2, Attack of the Clones, the love theme sounds like Hook. And I'm like, so every once in a while that happens. Not to say he's not brilliant. I saw him at the bowl and he was fantastic. It was his 90th birthday. Steven Spielberg was there, which was cool. He did the beginning of The Last Crusade, which was fun. He did a lot of other things that night too. My absolute favorite, most people might say, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jaws, those type of things. Harry Potter. My absolute favorite of his, and I can listen to it anytime, all the time, love it. My absolute favorite is Witches of Eastwick. I love the music in that film. I love the music for that, and I can just listen to it all day long. It's so fun and fancy-free and wonderful and engaging, and that's my absolute favorite. If they ever did at the Bowl a screening of that and playing it live, I would be there. I would be there. I love it. Okay, so awards received for Raiders of the Lost Ark: Best Art Direction, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Visual Effects. Okay, so I know I said in an earlier video I have a list of like the top 10 categories for the Academy Awards for every year, starting the year I was born all the way through now. And my goal is to eventually have seen all of those movies in the top 10 categories: Best Picture, Best Directing, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Cinematography, Music, Original Screenplay, Adapted Screenplay. Original music. Okay. So those are the top 10 categories in my opinion, and those are the ones that I have like a whole list of spreadsheet. Okay. 1981 is the year that I was born, and I have finished that year. So I saw everything in those top 10 categories. What's in the top 10 categories? There's a lot of stuff. Okay. I'm not going to name all of these because it's going to be a pain in the butt. But what I will say is I, after seeing all of them, have completely different opinions. And I, in my opinion, selected Raiders of the Lost Ark to win multiple things, and I figured I would share that with you. Okay. So I agreed that On Golden Pond should have won adapted screenplay. I think original screenplay should have gone to Arthur. I just fucking love that movie. It's hilarious. When it comes to music, I can't believe Chariots of Fire won, because the only thing Chariots of Fire in the entire soundtrack is that dun 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 dun. Okay, I get that is a great theme. It's fantastic, but that's all you got. In the whole damn film, the only thing that was extraordinary was that piece. When you talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark, the entire fucking soundtrack is amazing. So, I definitely think Raiders of the Lost Ark should have won for music over Chariots of Fire. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agreed that Ragtime should have won, or excuse me, I felt like Ragtime should have won Best Cinematography over everything that was nominated, including Raiders. I agreed that Maureen Stapleton deserved the supporting actress for Reds. Raiders was not nominated for that category. Actress in a leading role, I agreed that Katharine Hepburn deserved the award for On Golden Pond. Raiders was not nominated. I agree. Oh my God, John Gielgud. Holy wow. Yes, absolutely he agreed. I agree. He deserved the award for Arthur. He was so fantastic. Like amazing. Talk about an amazing actor. And then a great role for him. Offbeat comedy, like wonderful role. He is spot on in that movie. Raiders was not nominated at all. Raiders was not nominated for actor in a leading role. I agreed that Henry Fonda deserved it for On Golden Pond. Directing. I think Steven Spielberg should have won over Warren Beatty doing Reds. I absolutely believe that he should have won Best Directing. And I believe that Raiders of the Lost Ark should have won Best Picture over everything nominated. Chariots of Fire won. I'm like, what? Really? Have you... Really? Watch the movie. It's not engaging at all. It's boring. It's... And the story is just like, why are we watching this? Why am I still watching this? 10 minutes in. Why am I 30 minutes in? Why am I still watching this? Because it's on the list. An hour in. Am I really still watching this? I haven't turned this off yet. Okay, whatever. I guess I'm finishing this. Really? Why did that win Best Picture? Raiders of the Lost Ark should have won Best Picture. In my opinion. If I had my SAG card, if I were part of the Academy, it doesn't matter about my SAG card. If I were a member of the Academy back then, I would have voted for Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, what it did win, I'm like, really? Just, okay, best art direction, best sound, best film editing, best visual effects. It deserved more than that, honestly. It deserved more than that. Why did you choose this particular film? It's on, I've already said that. It's on the poster, and it was the year I was born. Have you seen this movie before? I already said that too, plenty of times. Would you recommend this film? Absolutely. I think Raiders, and I still think, after having seen the new one, I think Raiders and Crusade are the two best Indiana Jones films of all of them. And it's not just because they are Christian-based. I could care less whether they are Christian-based. I don't care. They are well done, based in reality, and the laughs that come are natural. They're not like going for the laughs, and nothing that happens in them, in my eye, seems like outrageous. Like fucking, Shia LaBeouf with the fucking monkeys in the that's so stupid. That's so Tarzan and with the okay. Nothing outrageous and ridiculous happens in Raiders or Last Crusade. I feel like they're very reality based. Very they seem real. And for a movie about an archaeologist, why are you going this extreme and that ridiculous and making things happen that just don't, that's not even based in reality? Having a sword fight on the back of of two moving truck, and you've got, it's just okay. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Which character were you most able to identify or connect with? And we're talking about Raiders. Sala. Absolutely. I identify with Sala. Why? Because I've had so many people tell me that I'm the best at what I do. Work-wise, I'm the best at what I do. I know what I do, and I do it well. And that's like the first thing Indiana Jones says when Sala appears in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I am also very reliable. My friends, my family, they all know that, and so is Sala. And I think that I definitely identify with that. Now, would I be able to play a different character? Absolutely. But this is not asking about what character you would play. It's who you identify with. Best line or memorable quote. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think it's probably the best Indiana Jones line in all of them. All of them. My favorite Indiana Jones line is when he says, I don't know, I'm just making this up as I go. That is the best. Absolutely, in my opinion, the best Indiana Jones line of any of the movies. I don't know, I'm just making this up as I go. That encapsulates him in all the films. It's perfect. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? I wasn't necessarily surprised by the ending of this film. I wouldn't do anything different. I think it's fantastic. How have movies changed since this was released? Well, considering this is the first one that was made of the franchise, this is the first one that was released, the first one that was made, 1981. I think that too many of them have gone too comedy, and there's too much computer. Okay, so in the new one, The Dial of Destiny, it wasn't nearly as bad. But Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is just like, I just want to throw up. It's like, I feel like half of it's computer. So it's like, oh my God, none of this is possible, and that's why it has to be computer. And it's just like, ew. Like, why can't we have a... Anyway, save computer for Transformers. Save computer for Marvel. Save computer for something else, not Indiana Jones, or CGI, not computer. Yeah, well, same thing. And the comedy has just gone too. oh my God, they try for laughs in Temple of Doom. They try for laughs in Crystal Skull. You know, and that's part of what makes it feel just like icky. Like, stop trying for the laughs. Because Raiders, there were some great laughs, and they didn't really try for it. This is not a Jim Carrey movie. You know, this is Indiana Jones. I have strong opinions about these things, as you can tell. Imagine the movie being remade today. Would the story need to be changed? Who would you want to play the main characters? Oh, I only put one. These are all period pieces. They all take place between the 30s and now I think the 50s. I think the new ones maybe in the late 50s, early 60s maybe. So they're all period pieces. Would they need to be changed? Would the story need to be changed? No, because they're period pieces, and you can do them at any time. It doesn't matter. Who do I think would... The only one that I put down... Who do I think would be a great Indiana Jones nowadays? When they did Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I heard that they were coming out, and I heard that they were going to have Indiana Jones' son. This is before I realized that before I heard that Shia LaBeouf was, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, LaBeouf, before I heard that he was cast. I will say, I know somebody who has met him multiple times. He's a very nice man. He's very sweet. So I'm not going to... I won't say anything bad about him personally. I've seen films that he's done, and I think he's a fine actor. He's done some good stuff. I won't say anything that. I don't think he should have been Indiana Jones' son. I think that's a wrong cast. In my opinion, after seeing the rundown, I was like, Sean William Scott is like the perfect young Indiana Jones. If you want an Indiana Jones' son, Sean William Scott. And if you want Indiana Jones' son to continue Indiana Jones' work, Sean William Scott. Brilliant. If you watch those pieces of the rundown where he's not being a dumbass. I hate that because I think he's got talent. Some really good talent. I hate that he got typecast as that dumbass, because he did American Pie. He got typecast as that, frat boy dumbass. And I think that there were hints in the rundown that are so beautifully Indiana Jones. And I'm like, he could totally be Indiana Jones. If you haven't seen the rundown, forget the fact that it's just fluff and it's fun. It's The Rock. It's cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger does a quick cameo in it. That's why I first saw it, because I'm a huge Schwarzenegger fan. So I heard he was in it, and I was like, I'm going to watch it. This was before I got really big into Dwayne Johnson. So this is a very early Dwayne Johnson, and just as Schwarzenegger took the governor position in California, he had done this cameo in this film, and he has one line, and he just says it as he's walking out of a club. So that's neither here nor there. What I love is really pay attention to when Sean William Scott is being the archaeologist, being that character instead of being a dumbass. And it's just fluff. Don't watch it for the film. That's fine if you don't like it. Who cares if you don't like it? Watch Sean William Scott performance, and I challenge you to tell me he wouldn't be a great Indiana Jones if he dropped the comedy shit and did a little and got a little more serious and played that character that he played in the rundown. Would perfectly be Indiana Jones continued on. Henry Jones Jr. or Henry Jones the Third would have been brilliant. But that's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's him continuing as Junior. Okay, Henry Jones the Third. Excuse me, not Junior, the Third. That's that. If I were to recast Raiders today, if I were to say who would make a new Indiana Jones, who would make a great Indiana Jones now? Chris Pratt. I think Chris Pratt would have done. I'm not a huge fan of what Jurassic Park has turned into, the Jurassic World movies. I'm not a big fan. I'll watch them and then just be like, okay, I'm done. And that's it. I watched it. Okay, I watched it. Fine. I love the original 2. The third one's a little, dinosaurs in Technicolor didn't do it for me. The first 2 I think are great. I read the first book. I read the books. I enjoyed the films a lot. I mean, when Jurassic Park came out, it was huge. I loved it. I'm not a huge fan of what they've turned into, but you can see Chris Pratt play that kind of a rugged character, great rugged character, but also have the wit and the witticism and the charm, and he would just be a great Indiana Jones. If you were to cast Indiana Jones now, I would go for Chris Pratt. Anything else you want to say? This and Last Crusade are my favorite. This and Last Crusade are my favorite, even having seen the new one. Okay, and the little thing at the bottom, it says, popcorn were sold by street vendors outside movie theaters until theater owners decided to cut out the middleman. I did not know that. Okay. I hardly ever get popcorn because I like to pay attention to movies, especially movies I've never seen. So I really like to pay attention to movies that I've never seen, and I feel like food and drink are a distraction. I definitely don't want to see a 2.5 hour movie and having had a Coke or something like that and have to go to the bathroom halfway through. Absolutely not doing that. So I find avoiding food and drink, I try to do that when I haven't seen the movie. So I've talked a lot already about Indiana Jones. It's already 40 minutes in. So let's get a little bit into, like I said, I didn't do any notes, but let's get a little bit into Raiders. I love, like I've already said, I love that all of it's reality based. Like there's nothing in this film that I feel like is too outside the realm of possibility. He's not super old. He's very young. I love the relationship between him and Marion. Like, that is so wonderful and well done. And do they tell you everything? No, they don't tell you everything. And that's kind of what I like about it. That they don't try to explain every little thing and what happened and what Abner did and why he didn't disagree and what... When she talks about you left and I was young, and they don't go into like what actually happened, and I'm fine with that. I like that. I like that it's not 100% complete, because in real life, if we're meet somebody we haven't seen for a long time and we need something from them, we're trying to placate them a little bit because we need something for them, and are we going to go through every single detail of what happened? No, we're not. So I like the fact that it's not 100% spelled out. I like that relationship between them two. And I've got to say, I'm a gay man, so Karen Allen is gorgeous. Especially back then. Actually, even in the new one. She has a quick cameo in the new one, and she's beautiful. I don't know if she's had any work done or not. She doesn't look like she's had work done. She still looks beautiful. She is a very beautiful woman. And I think that, there are a lot of people that nowadays that think Angelina Jolie or Charlize Theron or Scarlett Johansson. Yes, I get that they're beautiful women. Yes, but I think Karen Allen is like this naturally, amazingly beautiful woman, especially when she smiles. Oh my God, she's gorgeous. In Scrooged is my absolute favorite Christmas movie. I watch it every single year, Scrooged, and I think she's fantastic in it. I think she's a great actress, and I love her in this film. And I love that they bring her back for Crystal Skull, and then she has a quick little cameo in the new one. So her in this film is like it's fantastic. I love that she's rugged and she's like Linda Hamilton and Sigourney Weaver. She's a very tough, independent woman, and I love her character in this film. She's great. What else do I want to say about this? I didn't write a whole lot of notes, so it's like, what little things do I want to say about this? I love the mythology behind this, and we can get behind the mythology because a lot of people happen to be either Catholic or Christian or Baptist or whatever, happen to believe in Jesus Christ and Moses and things like that. So a lot of people tend to believe in that and already know about the Ark and what the Ark represents, or already know about the Ten Commandments and what the Ark represents and things like that. So it's easy to get into this mythology, and I get that's why a lot of people can get into this better than Temple or Crystal or even Dial. I get it. I totally get it, because I like that it's easy to understand what's going on, and I don't have to think too much about the mythology. Although he does say some things in here that I didn't know, and I was like, oh, okay, I got that. Which is fun. Sulla is fantastic. I think John Rhys Davies should have been in it so much more. He's such a great character actor, and he does such a great job in this film. I like him a lot. I like the special effects that are done in this film, especially at the end when everything comes out of it. I've talked before how, computer generation bothers me sometimes, and looking at computer generation bothers me sometimes. I kind of like this. I don't think it's computer. It's almost like cartoon or drawn when they come out. I like the way they look, because they have a texture to them. Whereas computer generation, when I look at it, computer generation looks almost two-dimensional. It looks flat. No matter what you do to it, it looks two-dimensional to me. That grittiness of how they do it in here, the ghosts in here or whatever, when the Ark is open, the grittiness of that, to me, to my eye, creates a depth when it's gritty like that. And I don't know if it's like drawn, if it's cartoon on there. I don't know how it's done. But the grittiness of that special effects, I enjoy more. Because it feels like there's something there. And when they melt his face, the guy's face at the end, I love it because it's actually something being melted. It's actually something. It's not computer. The same thing with my favorite horror movie of all time, John Carpenter's The Thing. That stuff is real. It's tactile. It's real. As horrible as some people think that special effect is, I appreciate it more because there is something real there. Even though it looks a little hokey, it's real. Whereas in the remake or the prequel, the fucking horrible piece of shit prequel that they did, The Thing, it's computer and it looks fake and it looks two-dimensional and it's fake and it's just ugh. So I prefer that having something there, having a texture to it that computer just can't do. At least not to my eye, can't do. So I like the special effects at the end of this one. The whole smoke on glass, effect to create clouds moving in the sky. I thought that was cool, even though that's what it is. It's smoke on glass, and that's how it... Anyway, I appreciated that. I thought that piece, just like Temple, when he reaches in and pulls the guy's heart out, and the stones are glowing when they go to get together. Just like that, when the Ark is opened, when he has the staff and the sun shines through the staff and it creates that thick beam, those things that happen that are a little tiny bit stretch the bounds of like reality or what we believe, because we've never seen that happen. We don't think that is actually possible. I like that it's just a little bit. It's not a lot. It's not monkeys and Tarzan through the fucking forest. It's realistic, and it looks realistic, and I think it's fun. It's great. It's good, and it fits with trying to make this as real and tactile and real as possible. So Raiders is it my favorite? It's hard to say. So I watched Temple, Raiders, Last Crusade. Oh my God. I can say I've probably seen Last Crusade the most out of any of the Indiana Jones. I love Sean Connery. I love that he is the comic relief, but he is kind of like the straight man, like any of Robert De Niro's comedy stuff. He's the straight man, and I love that it's not going for laughs. It's very natural laughs. It's very natural comedy in Last Crusade. Oh God, I love The Last Crusade. It's hard to say which one's my favorite, and I feel like I probably tip towards Last Crusade as being my favorite. I love the little part in the beginning where we get a glimpse of, poor River Phoenix, such a great actor, and gone way too young. And I used to have a huge crush on him when I was younger. Running on Empty. Stand By Me when I was younger, yeah, big time. But such a great actor, and I love that little part in the beginning where you get a little glimpse of who he is, and there's a little bit of a backstory on his dad and how his dad is cold and distant, especially when it comes to him. At least that's his point of view. His dad's point of view is different. I love the relationship between his dad and Senior and Junior in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Unfortunately, I've talked about before in other videos, I think mostly in the one about Easy Rider. My dad was not somebody I could look up to. Alcoholic, drunk. Not to say my mom wasn't also an alcoholic, but my dad was an alcoholic, a drug addict. He was abusive physically, verbally, mentally. So he was not somebody that I could look up to. And so a lot of times when they have a really great, wonderful father figure in a film. Now maybe Henry Sr. was not a great father when Junior was growing up. He probably wasn't. He was very work oriented and focused on the Holy Grail. But in the film wise, he's such a great character. He's such a great representation of a loving father. A little closed off, yes, and he knows it. That part where he thinks, Junior fell off the cliff and I didn't tell him anything, and you get that he has more to give, but then he closes off right away when he realizes he's not really dead, and he goes, okay, well, let's go. He knows he's kind of closed off. He knows it. But he's still a great father figure in this film. I love him in this film. And so when they have, because I didn't have the best father growing up, when they have a great father figure in a film, I tend to automatically adore them, especially when it's a great actor like Sean Connery. In the Harry Potter films, my favorite character of all time, of all of the films, absolutely favorite character is Sirius Black. And Gary Oldman is, I would love to have a career like Gary Oldman. He is so fantastic. He could, the epitome of disappearing into a role. Holy shit. Dracula, Lee Harvey Oswald, Sirius Black. He's so fantastic. Commissioner Gordon, he's so fantastic. He is an amazing actor. And to have him play Sirius Black, this wonderful father figure for Harry. He really is a wonderful father figure. And I cannot help but bawl my fucking eyes out every time he gets killed in Order of the Phoenix. Every single time. I just oh God. It kills me every time. Every time. I don't care how many times I've seen that film. So anyway, I love Sean Connery in this film. I mean, I'm a huge James Bond fan. Huge. Okay, so you may not have noticed, or you may have noticed in the films, I have these James Bond posters. These are actually metal posters, and if you could see it, it's each one of them, and they're individual posters of each one of them, and they all create a one big poster that has the 007 behind it, and obviously Sean Connery starts it. So I'm a huge fan of James Bond. I could get into that. You know, I'm like, what they did in the last film, I'm done with James Bond. I can't believe what they did in the last film. I can't believe people are not like freaking out about it. I can't believe after 60 years of film. Anyway, okay, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other kettle of crawdads, as they say in another movie. If you know that movie without looking at the list, that's a whole other kettle of crawdads. If you know that movie, I will give you full fucking marks. I will send you a gift if you know that movie without looking at the list. How am I going to know? Okay, maybe I can't send you a gift. I would love to be able to send somebody a gift. I would love to be able to trust somebody enough that they knew that movie without looking at the list. Maybe I just won't put it. That's what I'll do. I am not going to put down in the list what movie that is from. If you know what movie that is from, and you can tell me, the first 3 people who can tell me, I will send you a gift. No joke. No joke. That's a whole other kettle of crawdads. Okay, I'm not saying it anymore. That's it. Okay, so anyway. Oh, you know what? I want to show you something. Knocking things over. Okay, so I said that probably, if I'm really honest with myself, The Last Crusade is probably my favorite. So here we are, Indiana Jones. Oh shoot, all the lights, you can't really see. And Henry Jones Sr. Okay, these are up above my TV. So I had them up there, obviously, when I was watching the films, too. So anyway, I had to show you that. Okay, so let's... Okay, way off topic. Where was I? What was I talking about? Last Crusade. Love The Last Crusade. So great. So wonderful. And I don't think anything in there... Like I said, again, the outside the realm of possibility... The guy who lives 700 years and is still there with no food, with no anything, the outside of the realm of possibility is limited, and it's subtle. And because it's limited and it's subtle, I can accept it as part of a film based in reality. And this film is very much based in reality. I don't think there's much in this film that happens that I'm like, that's not possible. You know? So I love that about these Raiders and Crusade probably more. I guess I just have more of a connection to Crusade. One thing I will say that irritates me every time. Okay, so I hate picking apart films. I hate saying bad things about film. But just because I notice bad, things that, like I've said before, just because I notice things that you did wrong or things that aren't right, doesn't mean I don't love your film. It actually probably means I love your film more because I've seen it so many times that I pick it apart and find little things. Okay, there is one thing that irritates the hell out of me every time I see it, every time I watch Crusade. When Indiana goes back to Berlin to get the diary from Ilsa. Ilsa? Oh, I just watched the Mission Impossible, so I have Ilsa on my mind. But is it Ilsa or Elsa? Elsa. So in Indiana Jones, it's Elsa. In Mission Impossible, it's Ilsa. Okay, so Elsa. When he goes to get the diary back from Elsa in Berlin, and he gets it, and then he gets stuck in the parade, and Hitler comes. He turns around and, oh, it's Hitler, and he's got the diary, and Hitler takes the diary from him. What drives me fucking nuts every time I watch this movie, it really does. It's the biggest default in this movie. And if this is the only default I can find for this movie is fantastic. Fantastic. Adolf Hitler would not have signed his name in English. 1. He never fucking would have signed his name in English. 1. 2, he didn't sign. He never signed his name. He had a mark. He had a very specific mark, which is very hard to find. Google it. It's actually not so easy to find. You probably can find it if you Google it. This microphone is in the way right now. Hitler signature. He has a mark and a squiggle. He does not have an actual signature. Yeah, it's like a... And it's kind of hard to find. So, I mean, it's not hard to find. I just looked it up. Hitler signature, you can find it. It's kind of a... Okay? Regardless of getting the signature right, you don't have to get the signature right. He would not have signed it in English. And he clearly does a cursive Adolf Hitler. We know who it is. So you don't have to put Adolf Hitler. What was Steven Spielberg thinking? He directed that one, right? Okay, yeah. What was he thinking? Really? That just rings so fucking false. It like drives me nuts every single time. And honestly, if that's the only thing I can find about this film that drives me nuts, fantastic film. Okay. It's a little over an hour. Let's get into the Crystal Skull real quick, and then I'm not going to give any spoilers away. Let's not do any spoilers for Destiny. Or excuse me, Dial of Destiny. Let's not give any spoilers for that. I liked it. I liked it more than I okay, so in my opinion, Crusade is number 1 probably. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Dial of Destiny. And it's really hard, like, do I like Temple more than I like Crystal Skull? I don't know. That one's really hard. Honestly. And I'll tell you why. So I liked this new one more than I liked Temple and more than I liked Crystal Skull. Absolutely. It's grounded in reality. There's nothing too crazy outside the realm of possibility, except for the fact that, 60-year-old man is running around like he is and climbing stuff and blah blah blah. I think the story was good. I like the mythology behind the story. The computer animation was decent. They de-aged him, and they did it's looking better now. When they de-aged Luke Skywalker for Star Wars, it looked I could tell. You can tell it doesn't move right. This time it was really good. You really couldn't tell until he started talking or his hair or things like that. Then you started to see, okay, that's definitely computer. So they did a really good, but they didn't only de-age him. They de-aged Mads Mikkelsen. I'm not giving anything away here, so no spoilers for Dial. I liked it. If you haven't seen it and you like the Indiana Jones franchise, watch it. It's great. It does a good job. But my thought is you're still gonna like Crusade and Ark way more. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about Crystal Skull and then we can end this. Okay, why don't I like Crystal Skull? Okay, I've already talked about the fact that I can accept the fact that Indiana Jones is not religious. He's not religious. So the fact that there's aliens doesn't bother me at all. If you are one of these people who think that we are alone in the universe, you're deluding yourself. We are not the only living species in the universe, and to think so is naive. There are other living things out there. Have we made contact with them? Not in a large sense. Unfortunately, not in a large sense. Do we have relics? There are a lot of whistleblowers coming forward nowadays. There is new stuff in legislature that says that the government has to release certain things. That we are now starting to release the fact that yes, we have relics from things that are not of this world, of this earth. of this earth. Okay, so yes, we do have proof. Is it released on a major scale? Unfortunately not. I wish it were. So I'm not going to get too deep into that. Do the aliens look like they, do aliens look like they do in Crystal Skull? Who cares? That's not the point. The point is there's a civilization that is not of this world, that came to this world to share technology. And cultures around the world, all kinds of cultures around the world, not just Mesoamerican, but cultures all around the world acknowledge this fact that there were beings from another world that have given us technology, certain technologies. And that's what this whole one is based on. And I love the story in Crystal Skull. The story is brilliantly done. Brilliant. I love the story. I love all the quirky stuff. I love, oh my goodness. I don't want to get it wrong. I'm not going to get it wrong. John Hurt. Okay. Just because it's Hurt, I always get William and John mixed up. Okay, so John Hurt. I love John Hurt in this. He's so great. He has such a small character, technically small character, because he's out of it most of the time, but he's such a great character in this film. And again, to have Karen Allen back. I love Karen Allen, okay? So it's not the acting that I can't stand. That drives me nuts. It's not the story that drives me nuts, because the story is done well, and all the little things that they figure out is really fun. And the fact that the young, the third is there. I like the character. Shia LaBeouf does a fine job. I wish it were somebody else, but that's neither here nor there. He does a really good job at doing that character. I enjoy those parts of the film. What I don't enjoy is how many times it's absolutely ridiculous fucking things happen. It's stupid. Stupid. Indiana Jones going into a refrigerator, a lead-lined refrigerator, and then he's the only thing that gets blown out of an atomic blast, and he survives and he's able to get out. This is stupid. And the computer-generated groundhogs. What? And him throwing gunpowder up in the air, and then it whooshes off. That's so dumb. Can we just and the monkeys, and then the third doing Tarzan, and the third, Henry Jones the third having a sword fight with what's her name on the back of a car. I mean, it's just and then the giant ants, and it's just, there's too much in this film that one is computer. It's so much damn computer generation. So many times they're trying to go for stupid laughs that just make me oh God, stop. And so many times where it's way outside the realm of possibility. Really? Do we really believe that's happened? I mean, this is now turned into a cartoon where they drive off the cliff, land on the tree bends just far enough to let them into the water, and then comes back and smacks everybody. This is now turned into Roadrunner? A Roadrunner cartoon? It's just... So, there are things I enjoy a lot about Crystal Skull, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and there are things I enjoy a lot about Temple of Doom. But there are equally enough things I hate about those films that make it just be I don't really want to watch that anymore. I watch it and I'm just do I really want to watch this again? Well, there are parts that I do like about it, but then there are parts that I really don't like about it. It's just annoying. But that's my take. That's how I feel. My ex loved Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Absolutely loved it. That's fine. If you love it, great. I'm happy for you. Great. Fantastic. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you don't have to not like it. And it's not that I don't like it. It's that there's a lot about it I don't like. And there is enough about it I do like. So, those are the Indiana Joneses. I could talk a little bit about Dial of Destiny, but I don't want to give spoilers away. I don't want to put this in the list of spoilers, so go see Dial of Destiny. Watch this video if you like the Indiana Jones franchise. If you like the entire franchise, you'll be able to watch this whole video without me giving too much away if you've seen them already. So that's Indiana Jones. And I have a funny feeling that, I might do this same sort of thing when it comes to Star Wars. And to be 100% honest, I haven't seen all of the Star Warses. Oops. Okay, shut. I haven't seen all the Star Warses because I'll talk about that if I do a Star Wars. Well, 3 of them are on the poster, so I will eventually do Star Wars. So I'll talk about that later, why I haven't seen all of them. Okay. Well, you got another video real quick. So see you next time. I don't know when that'll be. It may be real quick and it may be a week.